I also got to work with him in Portland for a little while. I was going out there for about a year's time, and he was so hands-on with all the talent and trying to pass on his knowledge. He wasn't a guy that was there collecting a paycheck, going out there and half-assing and going home. He was very hands-on. I recall when we were doing our TV promos, he would sit in on the TV promos for each and every talent and give them feedback, and then we'd shoot our promos again with the feedback he gave. So he was really, really good at giving back to the young guys and giving back to the business, and he was very passionate about it. So I've got nothing but positive experiences to say about working with Jake.
So where can people actually go to find out more information about Legends of Wrestling or even CWE?
The easy way to do it is our website, cwecanada.ca, but if you want to be more up-to-date with more on-the-minute updates, that would be our social media pages, which would be facebook.com/CWE Canada, or on Twitter or Instagram @CWE Canada, as that's where the updates are posted first and foremost before they go on the website. So that'd be the best way to do it. Or you can follow me directly on Facebook as well at facebook.com/HotShot Danny Duggan, as I'm usually sharing the CWE goods as well.
That's awesome. I guess we'll go with a little bit. I know we are pre-recording this and airing it on Tuesday, but we can still ask this. Who do you think is going to win the Royal Rumble tonight?
That's a great question. This is going to be the first pay-per-view I've watched in some time, so I'm really excited about it. Who's going to win the Royal Rumble tonight? Put me on the spot. I'm going to go with... I'm going to go with The Undertaker. I'll throw that one out there this year.
That would actually be pretty epic if The Undertaker won. I mean, this is, for people who are listening to our podcast who don't follow wrestling very well, this is probably one of the bigger Royal Rumbles in the last couple of years. As far as star-wise, I mean, they're going to have Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker, Goldberg, Randy Orton, and countless other names. So I mean, there's a lot of star power this year in the Royal Rumble. I can't remember the last time that Royal Rumble seemed to feel as special as this one is feeling going into tonight's pay-per-view. And I mean, I think Undertaker would be a good pick. I'm sort of hoping that we might see Goldberg win it myself, but I mean, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I'm really excited about this Rumble because that's always been my favorite pay-per-view going back as a child. So I always make sure that I'm front row and center on a couch and watching the Rumble every year, even if I'm not too up to date with the product, which I'm not going into this Rumble. So I'm really excited just to sit back as a fan and see how it unfolds. But you nailed it on the head that this is the most star-studded Rumble it's been in a long time, where for the last 10, 15 years, it's usually pretty apparent who's going to win that match going in and the direction they're going into WrestleMania. And this year it's completely up in the air, and there's so many different directions they can go, and there's so many big stars in it that I'm really excited to see what they got for us, because it could go in the direction of a big star that we're expecting, or they could surprise us because they have been doing a whole youth movement and putting new guys on top and giving them chances that they might go a completely different direction that we're not aware of. So it's going to be really exciting to sit and watch as a wrestling fan this year.
Yeah, I completely agree. I guess one last question. I mean, every year in the Royal Rumble, they have some surprise entrants. Is there anyone that you would absolutely pop for if they showed up for the Rumble?
Yeah, that's always my favorite part of the Rumble, is wait to see who the surprises are, and I'm curious to see who the surprises are this year, because with them having Raw and SmackDown and NXT, there's so many spots that are already allotted to guys that are on the roster. So in terms of a wrestling fan, watching it strictly from a fan perspective, I think it'd be really cool to see Samoa Joe make his debut in the Rumble tonight. I know that's one of the rumored names. I think that'd be a really cool thing to see. It's already been all but confirmed he won't be in the Rumble, but if we were to see Kenny Omega make a surprise appearance even for one night, I think that'd be pretty cool to see. There's also rumbles of Kurt Angle, because he's going into the Hall of Fame this year, that he might be there. So I think with all this hype and all this expectation of a big name, they got to deliver somebody big in that surprise spot. So I'm sure they're not going to let us down tonight.
I know I actually have friends of mine who are predicting that Kurt Angle is going to make an appearance in the Royal Rumble and actually win it. I'm not quite going with that theory myself. I'm more of the Undertaker fan, but
after everything I've read, with Kurt Angle wise, with interviews, it sounds like he's been pretty much told that they just at this point just want him back for the Hall of Fame, and they aren't planning anything else. But I mean, I would absolutely pop if Kurt Angle shows up. That would be a really nice surprise.
Absolutely.
Kenny Omega, who is a fellow Winnipegger, I mean, I would love it if Kenny Omega showed up, even if most people, watching may not have any clue who he is. I mean, he's big in New Japan, and I know early on in his career he worked for Ring of Honor for a while. But I'm not sure how many mainstream, wrestling fans here in North America would know who he is. But
I think people said the same thing about AJ Styles last year, and he got the biggest reaction in the Rumble.
True.
I think we're in a different time now where fans are a lot more in tune with who's popular on a worldwide scale, and that's why there has been so much rumblings over the last few weeks since Wrestle Kingdom on if he's going to end up there. The wrestling universe is a lot tighter than it used to be, and it's no longer the days of if you don't follow Monday Night Raw, you don't know what else is going on. There's so much wrestling accessible at your fingertips on the internet now and through different streaming services that you can walk into WWE and be a big star, as we've seen with a lot of these guys like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and these guys that came from Ring of Honor that didn't necessarily have a huge national following, but they had such a big underground following that they were immediately able to come into WWE and make an impact.
No matter how it goes down, I actually look forward to watching. I'm probably going to be watching it on my phone at some point. You
can always come over to my place, man.
I could, but yeah. That is far.
Kurt Angle, I'd like to follow up on that. I think that'd be really exciting. And Kurt Angle is somebody I've been saying for a couple of years now that I personally don't understand why he hasn't been back. I imagine there's a lot more to the story behind the scenes than we'll ever know on why he hasn't, because so many other guys have come back in the time he's been gone. But when you talk about the direction of the product now and it being so wrestling-based and being good match-based and the direction they go, there's so many dream matches on the table with Kurt Angle, with the new roster and all those top guys that did come from Ring of Honor or did come from places like Japan and stuff that Kurt Angle's never been in the ring with, that people would just be super excited to see for the first time. If you recall, when Kurt Angle went to TNA, the biggest buy rate they ever did was Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe, because it was such a hot first-time dream match that no one ever seen before that they were so excited to get. I think there's another dozen of those if Kurt Angle were to come back to WWE, when you talk about, the Finn Balor's of the world and the Kevin Owens and all these guys. So I really hope that it does come to fruition, because Kurt Angle is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, and right now they're boasting the roster of the best technical wrestlers they ever have in probably the history of the company. So there's so many matches on the table that I hope we get to see as a wrestling fan.
I used to love the energy watching him wrestle, and whether you hated him or loved him, the crowd was always wild, one way or another. It was exciting to see. Absolutely.
I actually remember there was... I'm not sure if you ever were a fan of the Michael Lyonsberg in his Off the Record series that was on TSN. But several years ago, he had Hulk Hogan on, and this was when I guess Hogan came back shortly after the whole NWO storyline in WWE. And he went off and he said that Kurt Angle was the closest he had ever come to seeing someone who was a perfect in-ring performer and entertainer. As because either you was more of an entertainer like Hogan was, or you had more of like a pure wrestler, such as I guess you could say someone like a Lance Storm. But he seemed to be able to mesh both skills together better than almost anyone that Hulk Hogan apparently had ever seen.
And I think that's a fair statement, because Kurt Angle, when you look through his history, some of the matches he had with Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero and Shawn Michaels are up there as some of the greatest matches the business has ever produced. But if you also go back around that time and watch his in-ring segments and his backstage segments with The Rock and Steve Austin and Stephanie McMahon, that stuff will have you laughing and in tears. So I think that's a very fair statement to say that he is definitely one of the best, if not one of the best, all-around performers the business has ever had.
I definitely think that's a very fair statement.
Anyways, Danny, we'd like to thank you for joining us on our show today.
thank you for giving me the platform to talk Legends of Wrestling. We're really excited about this, and it's shaping up to be a highly successful debut event, so I highly recommend getting your tickets before they're gone. And as soon as we get through this one, we're going to be getting right to work on number 2. So we want to thank the fans of Winnipeg for supporting our venture the first time out. We look forward to bringing more quality wrestling and top stars to Winnipeg in the future.
Absolutely. You know what? Actually, I just thought of one question that I completely forgot. So who, I mean, I can't believe this slipped my mind. With everyone that you've had, you have coming this year, who is a name that you would love to have, in years to come, to show up?
At a convention?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Well, we're getting 2 big ones off the list with this one, with Arn Anderson and Bobby the Brain Heenan are 2 of my favorites of all time. So if we had to look moving forward, Kurt Angle would definitely be one of those names I'd like to see, in the future involved in a CWE event if he doesn't go back to WWE full time. Man. I think someone like, a Scott Hall would be really cool to have. He was one of my favorites growing up and definitely transcended the business with the NWO and his Razor the Remote character. So Scott Hall would be on that list. And we're talking great Canadians that draw great business. I think you can't leave Bret Hart out of that discussion either.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I have to ask, are you guys still going to be involved with C4 as well on top of this?
Yeah, we most definitely will be. We'll be doing some wrestling there again this upcoming year.
That will be awesome to see. So yes, once again, thank you for coming onto the show. We can't wait to see you guys on February 18th.
And again, where is the convention going to be located?
It's being held at Holy Cross Gymnasium Hall. It's located at 300 Dubuque. It's where all the big CWE events are held. So it's a go-to destination for top wrestling in this town.
Awesome. Well, we definitely look forward to seeing you there.
All right, guys. I look forward to talking wrestling with you again in the future.
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey, guys. So thank you once again for listening to our interview with Danny from CWE, who's putting on Legends of Wrestling February 18th. We'll definitely be there to, geek out. This last weekend, I actually went to, it's Mini KeyCon. It's like a convention before a convention. And, definitely it was showing what to expect with the big event, which is, I think, the weekend before FanQuest, which is going to be one heck of a month for us. So anyways, I got to meet with Rob from Entercon. Sat there and talked with him for some bit. I actually posted a picture on our Facebook page of his table. He did not want to be in the picture. Poor guy. And then, of course, there was Icon and a bunch of other stuff there as well. I think KeyCon is definitely going to be entertaining to check out, especially from the Entercon aspect. They're definitely going to be putting a table together there, and Icon always is a big showing. And then, the furry group was there again with their little furry dragon. That was awesome to see again. There's really not much to say. Like, it was a very small event, just to kind of showcase what to expect. And yeah, there was a bunch of people playing games, their Magic and stuff like that, which definitely gave me some ideas for FanQuest. So I don't know. It was an awesome experience, especially talking to Entercon, which will be August 26th and 27th. Wow, so many days, so many ways to confuse it.
Yeah, it is. As for me, I worked yesterday, so I wasn't able to go off and attend the event. But I did go off. I watched NXT's latest takeover special with Shinsuke Nakamura defending the NXT title in the main event against Bobby Roode. I won't give anything away, but it was a pretty solid event, and I have a feeling that we might get to see a couple of NXT stars appear in the Royal Rumble tonight. But of course, you guys, when you're listening to this, it'll be on Tuesday. So we'll go off and we'll get to see whether Danny's prediction was right. Come Tuesday when you guys have a chance to listen to this. I'm actually kind of really looking forward to this.
I think anytime Undertaker wins is a good feeling, and anytime you see people that you wouldn't normally expect to be in a Royal Rumble is pretty exciting. I always love the underdog feeling